today's installment of the Trader Brandon Transmissions.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. How's everybody doing on what is today? Today's Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. How's everybody doing on this Tuesday evening, afternoon, depending on where you're watching from? We're going to jump right in with our guest tonight, Mr. Ian Glaubinger, illustrator extraordinaire. You guys know his work. You guys have seen his work. We're going to talk about his work. We're going to raffle off a little piece that he's done. We're going to do a little fundraising for a bar in need during this time. And let's dive right in. So we're going to invite Ian in. Start the conversation rolling. How's it going?
It's going.
I like your background. Very appropriate.
I worked way too hard on like setting everything up, and I moved things around. I told my wife that like, oh, I moved my chair and there's like tape on the floor, so I know where to put it. So everything.
Well, I appreciate you taking things serious for us here.
Whatever. What else have I got to do?
What else you got to do right now? You might as well have fun with something.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Where did you get started? What made you decide to be an illustrator?
I mean, I've been drawing cartoons since I could hold a pencil. I've been drawing, and I was kind of raised on like Looney Tunes and, you know, all the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and then just, you know, growing up in the 80s and then early 90s. I knew I always wanted to do something with art, but I didn't know what it was, as long as it was cartoons or something like that. And as I got older, you know, it shifted, you know, from one thing, maybe whether it was comic books to illustration to animation, but it was always kind of in the same kind of ballpark. And then I kind of honed it as I got older. But yeah, so I've been drawing cartoons forever. Actually, my whole family are made up of artists. So nice. it was a household that was easy to say, when I grow up, I want to do art for a living. So
nothing wrong with that.
No. So you know, just drawing cartoons. I went to college for art, and originally I had gone to school for comic books, but it became tedious. You know, drawing comic books, I don't know if anyone who's watching or anything like that, it's so curse word hard, so and I curse a lot, but I don't, you know, I'm not going to do that. It's so hard, and there's 4 million people all trying to do it, and 4 jobs, and they don't, and one of those jobs pays well and the other 3 don't. So in college, I was drawing comics. It was very tedious, and I kind of pivoted towards the, you know, right after college. I was like, I just kind of moved on to illustration, just, you know, posters and spot illustration and things like that. And then just, you know, doing comic book art, fan art. If anyone watched the Dave Perillo episode of this is virtually the same part. This is doing fan art, going to comic book conventions, selling my work, doing art for like local Philly and New Jersey art groups that then got noticed by Gallery 1988 in LA, doing more work for them. And then Acme Archives, the same company that found Dave, saw my work and said, hey, do you want to do some licensed Star Wars posters? And then, yes, absolutely. And then I did more posters and, you know, more clients and more clients, building up a fan base and building up freelance clients where I could finally quit my day job. I was working in a like a technology company in Staten Island in New York, doing like web design, but also doing all like the posters and the cartoons on the side. And eventually I built up enough clients where I was able to move on and go off and do freelance on my own. And that's what I've been doing for just about 4 years, or exactly 4 years, something like that.
Nice. Someone wrote in, how did you get into the style of art that you do that's your style? How did you find that?
Junior year of college, and this is I very vividly remember this. I used to draw what's called the marble way. And for those who aren't familiar with that, or if you're not familiar with that, the marble way is exactly what you think it is. Big, hulking, ripply, spandex and boobs and all that stuff. And it's awesome. And I try to do that, but you have to really know anatomy to do that. And it's tough. It's really hard. And yeah, I took all those classes. So in a junior year class in college, I had a illustration cartooning class, sequential art, which is essentially just drawing comic books. That's what sequential art is.
Okay.
My teacher, Walt Simonson, who, again, if you don't know him, he's a big deal in the comic book world. He's like, he worked on Thor. He's done a lot. He's an unbelievable artist. He's an old school guy, but he was my teacher. And he noticed that when I was doing like my sketches for the work leading up to the final stuff, the sketches were much more animated, pun intended, no pun intended, much more loose, much more lively. And then when I went to the finals, everything became very stiff. It didn't look like Spider-Man was jumping. It looked like Spider-Man was posing. So everything became really stiff. And my teacher had said, look, there's not a huge market for cartoony comic books, but you're much stronger at it. And when you make that step, you lose it. Why not stick with that really animated slapstick style? And from there, that's what I did. I stuck with that. I remember going from drawing a Spider-Man sequentials at school for like a project to doing a pirate story about, like swashbuckling pirates. And it was animated. And some of my biggest influences at the time, and still are, was a guy named Steven Silver. Steven Silver, whether you guys know him or not, you know him. He designed Kim Possible.
Okay.
The Clerks cartoon. So at the time, the Clerks cartoon, that like 6-episode series, was like definitive in what changed the shape of my style. And I refer to it as French toast stick fingers. Everyone had those squared off French toast stick fingers, similar to Bruce Timm, similar.
Right. From
then on, it was just like, oh, I could do this. And then going back to anatomy is really hard. I do have a basic and general understanding of human anatomy, taking the classes, looking at the books and everything, but you can hide. You can hide behind fake anatomy.
Right.
So you have to have an understanding of how the skeleton of the body works. But once you have a general understanding, you don't need to understand every nook and cranny and rib and muscle. You can hide behind square fingers and, whatever, So, and that's really how it became. And it's grown the style has evolved as I've grown, from whoever I'm influenced to whatever new artist I'm discovering, to maybe I want to try something new for a different project. I found that in the past year or so, it's evolved to de-evolve. It's gotten even simpler and cartoony, which it's harder than you think it is. Some people look at that, go, oh, well, it's really easy because there's less there. It's really simple, but more thought goes into it, actually.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone just asked if you make your own brushes, your own digital brushes. Do you make your own, or is there somebody you recommend for those? Or
I'm going to recommend who everyone already knows about. I use Kyle Webster's brushes in Photoshop. If you use Photoshop, which is what I use, he has these brush presets that he's made. From my go-to is something called Runny Inkers, where it's that like rough edge. It looks similar to, old school Disney illustrations. There's a modern day artist that it kind of looks like. One of my favorites called Derek Yanginger.
Okay.
He's one of my favorites, but it's that rough. It looks like, you can see my hand. It looks like someone took the pencil and went like this.
Right.
It's jagged, and I love that. But then I use those. Those are exclusive to Photoshop. But then I also created my own based on, they have like default brushes, and then you could mess with the settings.
Right.
And then, so I kind of grew from there. So I have some that I use for when I'm drawing screen prints, and some when I'm drawing not screen prints, because there is a difference in the type of brushes that you can and cannot use.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's hit that while we're here. Why, personally, I always go, why are screen prints so awesome? because screen prints are great. But what's your preference? I know you do a lot of screen prints.
I prefer screen print if I have the opportunity. For those who don't know, screen prints it's one color printed at a time. So it's a piece of paper, and then the thing comes down, puts all the red down, and then the thing comes down, and then puts all the black down, and then the white, and then the green. So it's all one color at a time. So the art of making it is a piece of art as well as the finished product.
Absolutely.
I like to be able to run my hands over the ink. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I just like the textile feel of it. But screen prints harkens back to, a really vintage style. Yes, there are guys who can do unbelievable stuff with screen printing and the techniques that they use. Jason Edmondson, Anthony Petrie, these guys almost make it look like it's just a digital print, but it's actually multiple layers. Now, that's awesome, but that's not what I'm going for. I want that more, Jim Flora, old Disneyland attraction posters.
Right,
I'm going that more flat color. Yes, I do use some techniques where it looks like, 3D or shading, but I like the flat color. I like the look. That's that mid-century modern advertising look that I'm always going for. But I do also like to do giclées, where that's just like a high-end digital print.
Sure.
If the project calls for it, and also if maybe the client doesn't want a screen print, there's pricing variables with screen printing versus a digital print. And if someone wants a real painterly look, I don't know how to mimic a digital print like some screen print artists do, where they can get it to look like a gorgeous digitally painted thing as opposed to a solid block color. I either haven't looked into it, or I don't know how to do it, or I can't comprehend it. And if that's the case, I will do a digital giclée, where it's just like painting, like, with paints or markers or colored pencils or whatever. So some of my posters are giclées, but if I had the chance, the majority would be screen prints.
Yeah. Screen prints are awesome. What's your favorite IP to work with? I mean, you just looking at your website, you've got a wide variety of every great pop culture property on there. But what's your most fun to do?
The Ninja Turtles. They're my absolute number one favorite thing to draw. When I can't get it going, when I can't figure it out, because artists have that block, it just doesn't turn on. If I need to draw something, I did it last night. I was working on a project, and I just couldn't get it going. And there's that 6 fan art thing going around. And I was I'm just going to draw Ninja Turtles just to get my hand moving. I want to draw all the time, every time. I don't have to look at anything. It's all in here. But the idea of getting to work on officially licensed stuff is just mind-blowing. Just the idea that I get to do that. It's part of the pantheon. I'm currently working on some new Ninja Turtle licensed stuff that I can't really talk about, but I'm hoping it goes through. And if it does, it'll be a wonderful blend of the Turtles and something that I'm also very, very passionate about. So hopefully it'll come out, that's never a guarantee.
Well, let's talk about some of your stuff that has come out. I know I've posted it. People have posted it. Someone just mentioned it. But your Tiki Bar prints.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about those.
So there's going even back a little before talking about the poster. When making a poster, if it's for a client, then that's it. They pay, I want you to make FD. They pay you, you make it, the end. But I have to continually make things for myself, whether it's just to release on my own or it's to release for like a gallery show. Like the gallery shows, they don't really say, we're paying you a ton of money up front. It's really, you make the poster, you pay for the printing, you send it to the gallery, and if it sells, it sells. So you could really just take a huge hit on that if something bombs. So when coming up with an idea for a poster or any art that I'm going to sell personally, there's 3 things that I always kind of have to juggle with. 1, is it cool? 2, is it cool enough to buy? 3, is someone going to think it's cool, buy it, and hang it on their wall? So
that's fair. That's a good way of breaking it down. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sellout. I'm a commercial artist. That's what I do. I draw stuff and I want people to pay me for it. But I also want people to love it. The best thing you can ever get is you're at a comic book convention, you're somewhere, and someone just stops in their track and goes, "Oh, that's cool." Like, that's what I'm going. Cool is really hard to get.
Yeah.
Cool is like a level that I strive for. There's nothing better than someone going, "Oh, that's cool." So now getting back to the poster, I love, ever since I've been going to Disney World and Disneyland, and I've just fallen in love with like Adventureland and the Enchanted Tiki Room, and then that went to the Polynesian Village or the Polynesian Resort at Disney.
Right.
And you know, I was lucky enough I got to go to Hawaii at one point. There's just something about that style, and you know, it's sometimes weird because like, well, I'm just a plain old white dude, just like appropriating Polynesian culture that's probably appropriated. It's a copy of a copy of a copy, and it's probably not cool, but I just, you know, whatever. I don't know what to say, but I love that style. I love the music and the vibe and everything about it.
Right.
So for the longest time, I wanted to do tiki stuff, but the problem is no one gives a when I'm selling it. Now people really love it. They really love it, and I knew that, but I've gotten a little taste of that, and I'm like, it's kind of amazing. But a couple of years ago, I took a trip to the Museum of Natural History in New York, and there's a wing that, if anyone's ever been there or they haven't, there's a South Pacific wing, and it's just filled with masks from all the Polynesian culture and all different, you know, offshoots of that and different. Right. Like, oh, I love it. I took a ton of photos. When I came home, I was like, I need to do something with this that I love. That, and no offense, that isn't a Ninja Turtle, that isn't Spider-Man, because I love them, but sometimes you just want to do what you want to do. Yeah. And so I want to make a cool screen print. I want to make a poster that harkens back to like the very simple color schemes of back in the day. I would grab it, but I don't want to just stop the video. we could show it at the end or something. So I wanted to make a screen print, and I made one, and it's about 12 by 18. And there's a tree in the middle, and there's just all sorts of tiki masks from all over the South Pacific. And it's real masks, masks that I took photographs of, and then masks from also like the Enchanted Tiki Room in the Polynesian. So and the tree in the middle is actually the tree that's in the outside waiting area of the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Tangaroa, sure.
Yeah, in Disneyland. So some people notice it, some people don't, but all that matters is that people, oh, I like this, I want to buy it. So I think
that's cool. Yeah.
Yes. So I made it, and it bombed. I think when I was so excited, I was getting all the likes in the world when I first posted it, and then I think I did a run of 50, and I think it sold like 10 over the course of 2 years.
Well, someone commented that they have that poster and they love it. So one of the 10 people is watching.
No, well, there's a caveat to that.
Okay,
story.
Good.
So now time goes on. I still do little projects here and there that you got to do something that you love. Sometimes you don't care what else. I've made a Nacho Libre print. I love that movie. I know other people love that movie, but that's not necessarily someone's going to buy a poster or a print for. So I made a little print. So I make these little things go along, but I have a list. It's actually right here. Of all the things that I want to do. And on that list for the longest time, it just said Tiki. It just said Tiki. I didn't know what that was going to be. I didn't know what it was going to do. I didn't know what it was going to be for. I didn't know. I just knew also orange shirt, black undershirt, orange shirt, black undershirt.
It's like we planned it, which we did not. But yeah, I noticed.
From this. Also, it's the first time I've worn like a real shirt in a while. So, you know. All right, so Tiki print. I knew that I wanted to do something Tiki. I just didn't know what. And I also didn't want to lose $1 billion by printing something that was going to bomb.
Sure.
So then it happened. I saw there was a Gallery 1988 in Los Angeles, a gallery that I've been doing pop culture work for years. They were my start, and they do different group theme shows as well as, you know, solo shows and two-man shows.
Right.
And that. So they had a show coming up. They did it last year that last year that I really regret not doing. Not only do I love like Polynesian culture, I love California. And if I could move, I would. But work, my wife, stability, family, it keeps us here. For some reason, it doesn't. I'll go. And I know there's a difference between vacationing and living, but whatever. So I love California. I love Southern California. I love it. So Gallery 1988 had a show called LA Local, which is, as you can guess, it's just anything that's in Los Angeles. What makes their great city great? And I thought, tiki bars are popular in America. Tiki bars are really popular in Los Angeles. Yeah. This could be the vehicle that, whatever, if it fails, at least I gave it my shot, and that's it. So I did this poster, and I realized, holy shit. There's a lot of bars in Los Angeles, in greater Los Angeles, in everywhere in California. There's a ton. And there were a ton, and they're all so cool looking. And so that some of them are open, some of them are closed. And I thought, well, here's my shot. There's an LA show. I emailed the gallery, and I said, hey, I know it's an LA show, but do you care if I do Southern California? No, that's fine, that's fine. So I do that, and obviously, you know, the poster, you know, a ton of research. Being from New Jersey, I've been to, the only one on that poster that I've been to is actually Trader Sam's in Disneyland in Anaheim. Okay. Now, all I had to do, I asked a couple of friends, online friends who knew kind of the tiki world, and they pointed me in directions of where I could find the best information. And basically, I looked them all up. There was a website called Critiki, Critiki, where some people call that a date. So I don't know. I don't live there, so I have to take what I can get. And I basically would just look for like I compiled a long list. Josh Corwin, if he's watching this or whatever, he really, really got me going on the right path. And I compiled like a list. It was like 45 to 50 tiki bars. Oh man! That I had I was like, I knew the layout that I wanted to do, so I knew I had to get it down to. I'm looking at the posters right here to 25, and I had to do a grid. I was going to do a grid layout, and so I had to whittle it down. Okay, well, there's a lot of awesome ones that are closed, but there's a lot of awesome ones that are open. Yeah. So I had whittle. So obviously, I got it down to where I did, and I pissed off a whole crap load of people because people were very passionate about the ones that I missed. Like, how could you make a poster for tiki bars without blah blah blah? And I was like, I don't know. And then I had to put an addendum on my initial post of like, I'm not from California. I'm sorry that I missed the one that you love. I'm sorry. So I made the poster. I sent it to the gallery, or I sent them the digital picture, and their first response was, "Oh my God, this is going to be a hit." I was like, "Whatever. No, it's not." Hopefully, yeah. It cost about $350 to print 50 of them. So I had to pay for that. The gallery takes half of every poster they sell. It's a crapshoot. So I sent it to them. They loved it. They started that. They didn't post any previews of it, I think, until the first night. Maybe a night or two before the show opened. They're like, "Hey, here's our LA Local show," and sometimes they pepper out each show or posters for each of the artists that submit stuff. Right. They posted mine as a preview, and it lit up. It lit the fuck up. I'm sorry. And it was insane because this is something I love. No one asked me to do this. I wanted to do this because I've been wanting to do this for so long, and it lit up. And I was getting messages through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And then I posted the poster and something else. Going back, this poster took longer to research than it did to do. Funny. Let's say it took 40 hours to do. It probably took 80 hours to do the research because I had to look up each bar. I had to look up when they opened, when they closed, where they were. Make sure I had the right bar. Which, by the way, there's a huge screw up on the poster. Number 9 is the Islander. The Islander in Los Angeles, opened in late 1963 and closed in late 1970s. That's correct. That's the wrong Islander. that's an Islander from somewhere else in California. And I goofed. But you know what? This one's way cooler looking than the other one, but it's close, so it doesn't really matter.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter as long as it looks cool.
So, yeah, it looks cool. So
that's
I had
funny.
to do all the research. So the poster goes up, and there's a lot of buzz. The gallery tells me there's a lot of interest in this. I had sent them 30 out of the original 50 because I wanted to sell some of them on my own.
Sure.
The gallery emails me that night, the night it opened. The owner of the gallery, Jensen Karp, sweet guy, says, Ian, you got to send more. They're sold out. I've never done that. They sold out at the opening. They didn't make it to online. It's like, you got to send more, or we gotta do a second print. And I went, so I didn't send them more because I wanted to sell them on my own because the gallery takes half.
Right.
I still got to make money. I'm a freelance artist. I want to make money.
Sure.
So I thought it was on my own, and I didn't really up the price that much. I was told I could have and I should have, but whatever. So the gallery then did a second run of 100, and they did that in the teal version.
Okay.
And that they announced it either the next day or that night. The gallery opened on a Friday. The show opened on a Friday. They put the variant teal up for sale on Saturday, and it sold out in a couple of hours. And we toyed with the idea of doing the third printing, but I wasn't comfortable with that because you do that screen printing. Screen printing is limited edition. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
If you printing it, it diminishes the value. Not that I care so much about the value. It diminishes the collectability.
Sure.
And it's just like, I don't know. I just didn't want to keep printing money. I wanted to move on.
Right. Well, and that, it's a special piece, and the more you do, it's going to lose that. So
I know some people don't get that, and that's fine. I understand that, but it's okay. So we printed the extra 100, and those sold out in like an hour. And then we sent them out for the screen printing. They came back. There was an error on the poster on the second one. Let's see. So on this one, you can see on the bottom, am I getting it?
There you go.
It says all tiki bars listed in red are permanently closed. Well, the screen printer by accident used the file for this one on the teal one. So it should have said all the tiki bars listed in teal or blue, I forget, are permanently closed. But they used the file for this, so it said all the tiki bars listed in blue are closed, but the word blue was in red. So I actually have a few of those and sold a few of those as the oops, we screwed up variant.
I was going to say, again, it's a screen print. They're handmade. You can get away with stuff like that. If it was a digital file, someone would be like, why are you not checking your Photoshop files? But with a screen print, it's part of the deal.
So we did that, and we toyed with the idea of a third, and we didn't do it. And then working with the gallery, I tried to figure out what we could do, and we thought, oh, maybe, we had some ideas, and I don't want to say what they are because we may eventually do them, but we bounced it off, and actually Dave Perillo gave me the idea for what's coming next. So it hasn't been officially announced. It's going to be officially announced next week. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but for those who have been following me, on social media, you know what it is because you've seen it.
Yep.
So if this one was Southern California, let's go bigger. So it's not California, but it's 50 states. It's a little different, and it's got things that you may like from 50 states.
From 50 other places.
From 50 other places, and I will tell you, for everyone who was really pissed at me for not including Ventiki, or Ventiki? Ventiki's on there. So watch my feed, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and you'll see the announcement next week. And for those who are worried that they won't be able to get it, just wait. Please just have patience. And anyone who's buying anything during this time where the world's like on fire, I'm super grateful for anyone that's buying anything because I know some of us don't have jobs, but I'm hoping this brings people joy. Obviously, I hope people are able to buy what's coming out. But for those who can buy it and are worried about not being able to get it, I assure you, you will be able to get whatever it is that's coming out. So
Nice.
stay tuned next week, and you'll see what's coming. I did want to take this time. I know we had talked about this previously. So,
I was going to say, I was going to lead you into that. I was like, speaking of that, that poster you've got there beside you.
Yeah. So I know it's sold out, but I do have 2 or 3 of them left that I had kept for myself. With everything that's going on, Brandon and I discussed that we're going to put this up for auction, and all the money, I'm not keeping anything. I'm going to put it up on eBay. I haven't done it yet. It may take a day or two. We're going to put this up on eBay. This is number 45 of 50. It'll be signed and numbered. Put it up on eBay. 100% of the proceeds are going to go to the GoFundMe for Ben Tiki in California, because like a lot of places, they are closed and they are hurting. So I'm going to put mine up for sale. There's actually another. There's a GoFundMe already, and someone tipped me off to that because they are taking the poster they bought at the Gallery 88 opening night. They have number 8. They bought theirs. They're putting theirs up for auction to go towards Ben Tiki.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to do that as well, and I'll donate 100% of the money to to Ben Tiki, and hopefully those guys have money for bread, because this sucks.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things that I don't think any of us thought we would live through.
The guy who hit me to the Ben Tiki thing, he's Scott.
Oh
Steepleton.
Yeah, good old Mr. Steepleton. Yes,
he's the one who tagged me and hit me to the Ben Tiki thing, and so I'm going to join him in doing that as well.
Scott's always causing trouble for all the right reasons. So
yeah, every little bit helps. I already work from home, so right now I'm okay. There's no comic book conventions right now.
I know.
So that's why I'm doing all those sketch commissions, which is really cool. Going back to, so I become like the Tiki guy, and I love that. I never thought it would happen. People are now requesting me to draw Tiki bars and Tiki things for these sketches, which is really, really fun. I just did a Mr. Toad Tiki mug.
Nice.
Man, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. There's one thing I want to talk about that I'm probably, if people could leave their houses, they would walk to New Jersey and they'd probably pick me up and what's the thing like in Frankenstein? I'm having a brain fart here. There'd be like a looting. They'd come in my house, they'd take me, and they'd drag me, and they'd throw me in the river. So I'm going to let you guys on a really weird fact about me. I mean, it's not that weird, but I love Tiki bars. What's not to love about them, right? Like, they're
Sure.
great, they're cool, they're interesting, the aesthetics. I don't drink. It's not, I'm not like Mormon or anything. I just find alcohol to be gross. And I've tried all of it. Every time I have it, I'm just like, it's just this. I mean, this is just water, but this oh God! And some people will be like, "You gotta fight through that. You gotta fight through that." Yeah, pitchforks and fire. Someone's saying, it's disgusting, and I want to like it. I can handle a little wine. I've been okay with like hard ciders, but just so much of it is just like, oh God, like a 5-year-old having to eat asparagus. I'm just like, oh, it's so awful. But how does that work with Tiki bars? Tiki bars are the absolute best place for one to go if they don't drink. Yeah. Because I'm a child and all I want is sugar.
Right. Right.
So
and I'm sure you're the same way. I have had some of the best drinks in my life in Tiki bars by saying, I don't drink, just make me something cool. And those unique drinks are absolutely amazing.
I was in San Francisco. Dave Perillo and I had a 2-man art show. So we went out to San Francisco in this past November. And we went to Trader Vic's in Emeryville, which oh man, it was so cool.
Beautiful.
So, and in Emeryville, and we went to Zombie Village.
Zombie Village, yep.
Zombie Village in the tenderloin kind of area
Right.
near the Spoke Art Gallery in San Francisco. So in Trader Vic's, it was in like a blowfish, and it was like peaches and like coconut.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Oh
It's
my
amazing.
God. It was so good. And then after the gallery show with Dave, we went to Zombie Hut, Village or Hut. I'm an idiot.
Zombie Village.
Which, by the way, and I know Dave mentioned it, is the craziest, coolest tiki bar I've ever seen. It's like Trader Sam's and Grog Grotto on all the steroids. It's awesome. It's so cool in there. And so we're there, and a friend says, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, but just tell them I don't drink." They're like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I don't." Then you know what? I'll just tell the bartender, and he'll fit. And it was amazing. So like, if you don't drink, someone said,
I mean, you can't have fun.
You can have all the rum you want, buddy. So it was like it was like cream on. Oh my God! It was. I mean, I'm a 6-year-old. All I want is like sugar and like soda. So like, tiki bars, if you don't drink, are a great place to go because bars just have booze and beer.
Right.
But tiki bars have to have all the juices in the world, and it's so good. And it comes in a fun mug, and you can.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
You could steal all the drink stirrers from like.
There you go.
Yeah. So this one's really, really inappropriate, and we got that one from Trader Vic's.
I was gonna say that's a little mini hoonie there.
Yep.
I'll mention to everyone who's watching to make sure you take your screen grabs of our program tonight. Tag us both in them. I always make a mistake and forget to say that until after the show is done. So I've written myself a nice friendly reminder and kept it right here. Let's talk Disney for a minute. What's your favorite park?
Believe it or not, I actually didn't go to any Disney park until I was much older. First time I went was in 2002 with my then girlfriend. I went with her family, and it was somewhat close to 9/11, so the parks were kind of empty. I mean, it wasn't like months away. It was like, but still, when people were a little like
sure.
I guess, but we went, and so my first trip to Disney in 2002, I was 20. So at that point, obviously, I was still cartoons and kids, loving all that stuff. And I always wanted to go to Disney, and we went, and we stayed at the yacht club on like the concierge level, and oh my! I knew I would love it, but when I eventually got to go there, I was like, "Holy crap! This place is amazing!" And pretty much since then, it's teetered off a little bit in more recent years because money's getting a little tighter, and we're having a kid, and we gotta, plan for the future or whatever.
Life, yeah, you got life happening.
We got life, so we went, and I had gone like at least once a year, every year since then. I've been to Disneyland in California, both parks. Yep. I've been to obviously all the parks in Florida, and this past summer for my honeymoon, we went to Italy, London and France, and my wife and I went to Disneyland Paris as well.
Nice,
which is
nice.
So Disneyland is awesome. It's nostalgic. Walt was there. There's a charm that's there. It's full of locals. It's not full of big touristy groups. I don't know if I genuinely have, if I had to be, like, I'm passionate about it, that I love it, and I love going there, and I love collecting this stuff. I don't know if I favor one park over the other. I would say if someone said, "Where are you going to go?" I would go to Disney World because there's more. There's more to do for a longer amount of time. But Disneyland is amazing. Well, I love what they've done with California Adventure, or whatever it's called now, or is it still called California Adventure?
Still California Adventure, yeah, still California Adventure.
I love Animal Kingdom, I love Epcot, I love, the Magic Kingdom. I don't love Hollywood Studios anymore. Believe it or not, that first time I went in 2002, that was my favorite park. There was something about that 1950s Hollywood vibe. And in 2002, it was very different than what it is even a couple of years ago.
Sure.
Now they're back. Like, I've been to Disney World a few times since Pandora's opened and Star Wars Land and all that, but I haven't gone there since because I'm just like, ugh, it's so crowded. Ugh, I don't want to go. But I love it. If I had to pick now, probably my favorite park. 3 years ago it was Epcot, but there's nothing to do there because it's in flux now, and I'm not knocking like, oh, it's changing and like whatever. I'm not thrilled about everything, but 3 years ago it was just like, oof. My greatest regret in life is I never got to go on Horizon. Whew, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But again, there's nothing like Disneyland. There's nothing on earth like it. It's just so nice. I had a weird experience a few years ago. I got to go to Disney World with my family and my extended family. And again, the first time I ever went was I was 20 years old. So I'm a jaded adult. I love it and it's magical, but I'm a jaded adult.
Sure.
In October of 2015 with my family, which included my stepsister, her husband, and I think, their daughter, who I think was around 7 or 8 at the time, 7, I think. And I was the tour guide for this trip. It got to the point where the daughter, she thought that I knew Mickey because I knew everything, and I do work and this and that.
Sure.
So her parents kind of let me hold her, like, don't go too far, but hold her hand and you be her tour guide. And the first thing we did, we went to the Magic Kingdom park, the first trip, or the first day, or the first time we went to a park when we got on the trip was we went to Magic Kingdom. And we went inside, and we took a sharp left, and we walked up the stairs on the train station to go to that railing that overlooks the park.
Right.
And I got to look at her face as she looked down Main Street at the castle. That changes you. Like, I kind of hate it. There's something wrong with me. I think I'm dead inside. I'm not ooey gooey for babies, which is a problem because I'm having one. But I saw the look on this little girl's face is just like, there it is.
Yeah.
It does not get better than this. So, yeah, there's something about the parks. My favorite ride, I have 2.
I was going to say, and that was the next question, yeah.
I have 2. I have a new one, and I have an old one. Carousel of Progress.
Sure.
Hollywood Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios. If I could, renew my vows, I would do it on the balcony at the Tower of Terror or in the fabulous 40s of the Carousel of Progress.
Nice. That's a good, well-rounded combination, and not just well-rounded because it's the Carousel of Progress, but that's a good. See what I did? I made a circle joke. Yeah, Carousel's great, and still holds in. You could definitely, room for updates or whatnot, because it's kind of wild to see where it left off as opposed to where we could be now. But at the same time, it's like it's a perfect little attraction. So.
Yeah, I'm very obsessed with the 1964-65 New York World's Fair.
Sure.
I was fortunate enough to go not to the fair. I was not born. When I was in San Francisco in November, the Walt Disney Family Museum was there. Serendipitously, there was a talk at the Walt Disney Museum by a historian who specializes in the 64-65 World's Fair.
Nice.
He gave a talk about it. It was awesome. I got to meet him. I bought a book. Very cool. But I collect World's Fair stuff. It's all over there. And actually, I was
going to say you've got a couple flags back there. Yeah.
I like to collect pennants and make pennants, but yeah, so the 64-65 World's Fair, I love it. And to tie that back, that's where Carousel of Progress came from, and Small World, and all those rides, People Mover and everything.
Yeah, Magic Skyway and Mr. Lincoln, yeah.
So the idea that came from there, and I've listened and watched I've watched the documentaries on it, and I've listened to the audio of the old one, and I don't know, love it. It's great. I love the Carousel of Progress as it is, but I actually think it would just be cool if they updated the last scene like every 10 to 15 years.
Sure.
Also, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. What's the daughter's name? Jane? Patty. You're always touching your sister Patty. A couple of years ago, years ago, I was on it with a friend. I'm sure they fixed it since then. Sean Thompson, he used to work for the Diz, and doesn't matter. We're on the Carousel of Progress, and in the last scene, Patty, there's something wrong with her eye, and it would just every so often one eye would just kind of close like she was winking. So the joke was always, "There's a great big beautiful tomorrow." Wink. Like, oh man, this ride needs some TLC. Like, the only thing they've done is they turn like the big CRT TV into like a flat screen. Like, they do things like that, but
they repainted the outside lately, and it looks gorgeous. So they got that going for them. But yeah, the inside always give or take on the day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the questions I had. Did you want to do the little raffle thing?
Sure.
Do we want to tell people about that?
Sure. So, like those sketch commissions I talked about earlier, and I said people are asking me for like tiki stuff, I decided to make like a little mini one. It's a 5x7. It's an homage to the Enchanted Tiki Room. I thought it was only fitting. So I did a little colored pencil drawing. Can't see it, and I'm being a real tease, although I posted it on social media already. So I'm just going to hold it up. Can you see it? Oh, there it is. It's a little tiki mug inspired by the Enchanted Tiki Room. The original attraction poster. I've got, maybe that's Jose. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bird at this point. With a little flower, and it's supposed to look like the totem tiki that's on the poster there. So I know you said you wanted to do a raffle. Someone who's been watching the show.
I was going to say, everybody take your screen. Hold it back up real quick. Everybody take your screen grab right now, and then tag us both in it. And then we're going to, by the end of the night, I'm going to take all the names and the accounts of the people who tag us in it, put them in a little hat, draw a name, give you something cool. Don't bite it. The value goes down when it has teeth marks in it.
No, but it's a teeth mark variant.
Fair. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and chit-chatting with us.
No problem.
I appreciate you working so hard to get that background looking good.
Oh, well, that's the Disney Dan.
Disney Dan. It's weird because the way that you sit in it, it looks like you're on the TV. Because like you've perfectly been in the frame the whole time, just about. So it's pretty funny.
I worked really hard on this. So it's actually my. I have an Xbox hooked up to the TV, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just mute it and I'll play it, because if you guys don't know, the Disney Dan makes really long background music.
Yeah, we were talking about him the other night. Yeah.
Of different Disney ambient music, and he did one for the Polynesian and for Trader Sam's and all that stuff. But he recreated the window in Grog Grotto. You don't know anything about that, right? You don't know
nothing. Yeah.
So, but it's animated. So he has it where it rains and the volcano erupts and the clouds move. And I was like, oh my God, that's gonna be so awesome in the background. And then I was testing it out, and YouTube on Xbox, no matter what, even if unless I have like, I guess, a paid account for YouTube, which it would just cut to commercial. So I was like, oh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine commercial. I mean, I like that show, but that's going to
But not now. There's a time and place, yeah.
So then I went on my computer, took a screen grab of the scene on YouTube, saved it as a JPEG, put it on a thumb drive, put the thumb drive into the Xbox, and now it's just stuck on there. But also, I've been secretly touching my remote for the Xbox, because if it sits for a half hour, it goes dark.
Well done. This is the kind of effort we like to see from our guests. Gosh darn it. This is it right here.
I've been home for a long time.
Hey, it's hopefully everybody's hanging in there, and hopefully eventually we'll start to see the light at the end of the tunnel and get out of this and back to tiki bars. Back to
terrible outside world as opposed to terrible inside world.
Yeah, I wish and hope that people will learn from this and be a little nicer to the environment and be a little smarter and wiser. But yeah, I don't know.
You're welcome, DJ. He said thanks for the art.
There we go. All right. Well, Ian, thanks for coming on. Stay safe out there, and I will buzz you a little later about our raffle, and then let us know when you put that poster up, and we'll post it on our page for the fundraiser for Vintiki.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. All right. Tomorrow we've got Danny Haas on the show, and then we keep going all the way through 15th, 16th, and just rocking and rolling. My apologies to Dr. Skipper yesterday. I don't know where that video went. My apologies to anyone who didn't get to watch yesterday's show. It was a great show. I will say that. Hopefully we won't have any of those weird glitches. I would like to publicly say to Instagram to move the save button away from the delete button, because some of us have fingers that just move the darn buttons to the top and the bottom. But anyhow, everybody stay smart and stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, bye.